Hello and
Oh,
welcome to an what?
that was like a yawn.
Well, if you're listening, clearly Dad and I have a lot of exciting things to talk about
We
because we're
certainly do.
struggling to keep him awake this week on TV. It's all we've got.
Oh, it's been a big week, hasn't it, darling?
It has been a big week. I have been safely tucked away in my apartment and have not left.
This return to work has
Mm,
troubled quite a few people. And I caught up with a friend of mine the other day, and she was telling me that she was anxious and she actually had to go and have a medical. And we're talking about someone who's a high achiever. We're talking about someone who does triathlons and marathons and this, that, and the other. And the sheer fact that for 2 years she had been denied the opportunity to do any of this had
mm,
worked inside her and had spun her around big time. And she needed to
mm.
find a way to settle, to
Yeah.
relax, to unwind.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised
Mm,
that people are struggling. I'm certainly not surprised that you're struggling. I
yeah.
didn't want to hear it at
Yeah.
first glance, but now I understand that. Yeah, we've got to get on top of it. We've got to understand
Yeah.
what's at play and what drives it. And the
Mm.
sooner we get that sorted, the better this program will be.
That's right. That's right. And I'll stop giving you some really depressing shows to watch.
We want to give you programs that invigorate you, excite you,
Yeah.
entertain you,
Yeah.
and not create bigger problems than there already are.
Mm,
Okay.
yeah.
And the program you asked me to view this time round,
Inventing Anna.
right? Let me say that more often than not, when you get to watch a show,
Mm,
the producers always want to try and make it grander, braver, bolder, prettier than the real
mm,
thing.
yeah.
This time round, Netflix decided maybe we don't like this woman called Anna. Maybe we won't paint her as, we won't use Michelle Pfeiffer or someone of that, caliber and class. We'll find someone else and we'll get her to go down and get gritty.
Mm,
I've actually saw a special on 60 Minutes where I saw the real Anna.
yeah.
And she's actually in a crazy sort of way, and I don't mean this. She's she's much more charismatic and attractive
Mm,
than the one portrayed in the series. So for the very first
mm,
time, I get a feeling that maybe the producers, who of course had to create and work this script around a woman who had just been nailed
mm,
for fraud and was going to go to
mm,
jail. And maybe they thought,
yeah.
maybe we should not make it too attractive. Did
Yeah.
you get did you
Because,
get did you get that feeling?
well, it was interesting that you say that because for me, I almost felt like the reporter was very much on Anna's side
Right.
and felt for her,
Yes.
right? So I felt like at some point they were trying to make her out to be not as bad as what she did.
Right.
But
But
then at the end, you really start to realize that these people have actually been quite impressed by what she's done because the scale of it and just she had these big banks willing to give her money and she had nothing.
so what did you
Yeah.
learn watching Anna?
It's
Oh,
all in
sorry,
the
inventing Anna.
confidence.
It's
Do
all
you know what I mean?
about
It's all in
show.
the way you come across. Yeah.
It's all about showbiz.
Yeah.
And we saw this young woman from
Mm,
Europe come to America, come to New York, and create a story. And she grabbed a
yep.
couple of people who were not gullible, but she spun a web or spun a
Mm,
story that seemed to captivate them. And
yeah.
once they were captivated, they were hooked.
Yeah.
Correct? The story goes that she kept saying to people, look, I'm an heiress. I have 70 million euros coming my way. And of course, people went, oh, gee, an heiress. Oh, no. The
Yeah.
Americans have this incredible fascination with royalty. Anything
Mm.
that vaguely resembles royalty or heiress, they buy into.
Yeah.
It's like automatic.
Mm. I know no one ever questioned, no one ever thought to question
Enough.
until, well,
Enough.
until they had to start giving money themselves.
Yeah.
Like, for people that don't know this story, Dad like briefly touched on it. This young girl, 26-year-old, came to New York and just started claiming to be this German heiress. And she automatically was welcomed with open arms into New York society. And she was going to all these events, all these openings, art, like she was going to everything, making a name for herself.
She was almost like a reality star from Maths, being invited
Yeah.
to every opening, the opening of an
Every
envelope,
opening.
the opening of an envelope, and she was going to be there.
Yep. And she was taking money from some people to give it to other people, and, you know, stealing from like friends, people that have helped her. And she ended up gaining this reputation that everything she did, people just said yes to her.
Yeah.
I think it helped that she was, you know, attractive. So some of the men that don't think with their brains, you know, kind of came a little bit undone in certain situations. But it's just
do
a
men
really
do that? Do they?
interesting
Do
take.
men have two
I don't.
minds?
It's never happened to me, but that's what I've heard.
I have very good friends who will tell you, yes, men have two brains, and they don't always check with the other.
Yeah,
No.
that's right. They don't communicate.
For validation purposes, it's like, oh, which one's working?
Yeah.
It's just crazy stuff. Interesting also that the TV series quite possibly has discovered the second worst accent impersonation since who did, oh goodness gracious, who played Lindy Chamberlain in the Lindy Chamberlain
wasn't
story?
it Meryl Streep?
Meryl Streep. And Meryl Streep tried to create this quasi Australian New Zealand accent and missed it by that much. That much. I think this might well be the next worst attempted accent.
But it's almost to the show's detriment. No, you're not. No, you're not. It's like it literally, for me, is almost to the show's detriment.
Yeah.
Because the only thing people are talking about is that accent.
Okay. Now that
no
you
one's really talking about the story.
Remember, you asked me a number of months ago now to review a show called White Orchid.
White Lotus.
Sorry, what? Why do I keep saying White Orchid?
I don't know.
White Lotus. And what did I say to you about that? I love the show. I thought it was an interesting show. I just couldn't handle the Australian accent that cropped up and was used by one of the actors. And it just annoyed the heck out of me. I said, it's almost like, I don't want to hear an Australian accent. What is it with me? Why do I react like that?
I don't know.
Shouldn't I be proud of Australian accents?
Well, the thing is, it was a real Australian accent. That's the crazy part about it. Is it was actually a legit Australian accent.
Yeah.
It wasn't an American actor trying to be an Australian.
No.
It was actually an Aussie accent. And that is probably the first that we've heard it like that.
Was it a trifle bogan?
Yeah, for sure. Says me. Yeah, for sure. Like, it's about as bogan as I get. But
tell me something.
Yeah.
What manner of challenges are we being presented with when no one bothers to care about the pronunciation of a word, and there is so much gobbledygook out there, and everyone seems to think, okay, fine, it's no worries. I couldn't stand the accent. White Lotus got me riled up. Did I do it again? White Lotus.
No, you said it right that time.
Do you
You
know,
did.
you've got me sweating now. Every time we say white, I go, white lotus? Yeah, lotus.
Yeah.
So we come back to this show and it annoyed the heck out of me too.
Yeah. And like you said, you've watched the 60 Minutes interview as well.
Yes.
She does have a strange accent. Like
Hang on.
It's that mix.
Yes, correct. It's her European background, and she's learnt the English, that American, and she does that little American twang. But it's not nearly as pronounced as the one you hear. Is it Julie Garner who does it?
Julia Garner. Yep.
Julia Garner, who I first saw in Ozark.
Yeah.
Smart girl, tremendous actress.
She's very good.
Just at this moment, the accent's not quite where you want it to be.
Yeah. And I wonder if they did that on purpose as well to kind of make her unlikable.
Very good point. My daughter just made a very salient point. I think you're 100% on the money.
I think, like, at certain times, I was thinking to myself, they're making her out to be a hero. She's not a hero.
No.
She's a criminal. She's done a very, very bad thing.
Correct.
Why are we on this chick's side? And I think it took a while for them to really admit that she was not a good person, that she's actually done something wrong. That was the way I felt about it.
We seem to have a society where if you're half attractive and you spin a reasonably good story, you can get away with, I won't say murder, but you can get away with a whole bunch of stuff that other people, wouldn't get away with.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, do we recommend Inventing Anna on Netflix?
I mean, for me, I was so intrigued by the story itself.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that it would be kind of told the way that it was.
Right.
Yeah, I think if you're fascinated with that kind of New York society and how things work, and also the journalism and what it takes to writing a story and investigating, I think it's an interesting take on that.
Sure.
But
isn't it interesting though, where one of the people who was badly stung was in her own right a journalist who should have seen or should have asked enough critical questions to realize that what she was being sold was a pup and not an authentic pup. And it wasn't until they went to Morocco and she got handed a bill and it dawned on her that, oh dear, this is a very different story to the one I'm thinking I'm involved in. So the story has many elements. And of course, during the making of this series, the principal player, the real Anna, went to jail.
Yeah.
And interestingly, she's in jail and she's a celebrity on Netflix.
Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah. Whoa.
And has made money from it as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
and she's famous. So she got exactly what she wanted.
Infamy.
Like it just
infamy. They've got an infamy. That's what she tells you. You say famous. She says infamous. They've made me infamous. My view is you've got way too much out of this. Yeah. Did she give New York the sort of treatment they deserved because they were so gullible?
Probably.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think that was the fascination with it, is that she could get away with it for so long.
Gotcha.
And people just weren't picking up on it. But also that so many of her friends never wanted to contribute money. Like, I think when I go out with my friends, even if I know that they have more money than I do, I've always offered to pay. Even when I go out with you, I always offer to pay. I never think that I'm going to get a free ride. Do you know what I mean? And so many of these people.
And I laud that. I love that. I love that my daughter is always happy or understands her responsibility and always is prepared to pay her way. I think that goes a long way. In as far as I'm concerned, it tells me more about you. It tells me more about the person your mother and I raised. It tells me just how grounded you can be and how important that is for you to show to all and sundry that you understand responsibility. A lot of people don't get it. A lot of people are very happy. Like, for example, I heard a story the other day where someone of reasonable profile was invited to a luncheon, and just before the bills were being paid, apologised he had to go to a function. Didn't even offer to pay his way.
Wow.
Pretty cheap. Yeah. And maybe you can get away with that once, maybe even twice. But once you get found out as,
that's it.
A storyteller and a jumper.
Yeah.
Yeah, it comes back to haunt
People
you.
start catching on eventually.
So what did you have to watch? What did your father impose on you?
So this week you asked me to watch Picard, which is now on Amazon Prime. It is the story of Captain Picard.
Correct.
Who, for those of you that don't know, originated on Star Trek. This is the story of his life after the series. And I have watched episodes of Star Trek here and there. I've never watched it fully.
Right.
So I feel like there was some kind of disconnect in terms of like recurring characters that I felt like I probably should have known who they were, and I didn't. But it's fun to play in that world.
It's called the world of fantasy.
Yeah.
Futuristic science fiction.
Yeah. The little I do know of Star Trek, this was a nice kind of look back on the times that were.
So Picard on Amazon Prime is recommended by my daughter. It's season 2 is just underway and doing some interesting business. But Picard is another in this fine series of science fiction shows. The other one I like, of course, is Star Trek Discovery, because there's a whole new cast, and it's even further in the future. The next crop of captains and others is really good. They're just giving us, and of course, what happens? The prosthetics are better, special effects are even better. So you see characters that they couldn't recreate 20, 40, 50 years ago. When first started seeing Star Trek with Roddenberry's Star Trek. The latest versions are pretty special, and Picard is good. It's another layer of very, very nice storytelling. Yeah. That's Patrick Stewart.
And I like the characters.
Yeah, you like Patrick Stewart, don't you?
Oh, love Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
I mean, I know him as Professor X in the X-Men.
Oh, yes.
So to see him up and about walking was so nice. Because I was thinking about it. I'm like, I've grown up with him being Professor X, and you've grown up with him being Captain Picard. Like, it's just a really interesting
parallel universe. Yeah. But that happens. When we saw Lost in Space with Guy Williams and that crop, I remember Guy Williams as Zorro on Walt Disney, and you know him as the captain, or Mr. Robinson on the Lost spaceship in Lost in Space. So again, generations apart, great characters, opportunity to sell a different version of themselves. And when they do it well, it's really embraced by a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
Speaking of embracing things, you have warned me for ages and ages and ages. You were going to dump Bridgerton on me.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to dump it on you first.
What do you mean? I've already watched it.
Yeah, but I haven't. So that means you don't have to watch it. and you can make up for all the time now while I watch it. Is that strategic?
Okay.
Because I don't want to
Sure.
tax you right now. You're going through a really awkward time. I'm buying you some time because
Okay.
I haven't seen Bridgerton and I
Okay.
have no idea, other than the fact that there's some hunky guys apparently in it. And I don't know why you want your father to watch hunky men in a hang on, let me get this right. In a series that takes me back to the 1700s, is it? Or the 1600s?
Yeah.
Why?
I mean, don't
The
quote me on
1800s?
any of this.
What?
Don't quote me on this. I wasn't paying attention to the time period.
Okay, well, finally, your father has decided that it's time that he caught up with the sorts of things that you are interested in.
Okay.
Clearly, it's Bridgerton. I don't know anything more
Bridgerton.
about it. It's
Okay.
on what? It's on Netflix, is it?
It's on Netflix. It's on
Okay.
Netflix.
All right.
Okay. So
So
you're giving
Bridgerton,
me Bridgerton.
correct. What are you giving
Okay.
me?
Well, I might give you something something short as well.
Oh,
It
like
was actually a
what?
documentary that I watched the other
Oh,
night. Yeah, and it's called Lucy and Desi. It's on Amazon Prime. It's not the Nicole Kidman, Javier Bardem one. It's actually one that Amy Poehler has directed,
get out.
and it uses old material, like old recordings, and it tells the story of Lucy and Desi Arnaz.
Okay. Can I
And
just break something to you before you go any further?
yeah,
I'm old enough to have seen the Lucy and Des
I
shows
know,
live.
I know. But I loved it. Do you know what I mean? Like when they had the reruns, I loved it. And I
Yeah, but
was
I saw
just,
them. I saw them fresh first time
I
round
know you saw them as they went to air
as they went to our. Sorry, in black and white,
in black and white. Yeah.
because we didn't get color in Australia. Stand
Mm.
by. Hold on to your television set. We didn't get color in Australia until 1975. And how old were you in 1975, Lauren?
I wasn't born with
You were
or yet.
minus 10. You were minus
Yep.
10.
Yeah. Wasn't even a speck in the
Correct.
galaxy at
I
that
don't think
point.
I'd even met. Oh, hang on. No, I had met your
No, you
mother.
had.
Oh,
You
wait.
had.
I had met your mother. Oh,
You
yeah.
had.
Boy, had I met your mother.
Yep.
In
Yep.
fact, I think 1975, we'd broken up, only to come
Get back
back
together
years
again.
later. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, this is getting awkward now.
I'm pretty sure
Hang
I
on.
know
Just
all
tell me
this
again.
anyway.
Just tell me again. Your mother doesn't
Yeah.
listen to this podcast, does she?
No,
Oh,
no.
thank God for that.
No.
Right.
Even she started following us on Instagram.
Oh,
And yeah, and it's really funny because she's like, what is this thing that pops up? And I'm like, that's the show, Mom. That's the TV shows we've watched this week. And she's like, oh, how do I watch them? And I'm like, nope, not telling you.
yeah. Too much information, Mother.
If you haven't figured it out yet,
Yep.
you're
We're
never going
not
to
going to
figure it
tell
out.
you. Repeat
Nah,
after me. We'll do this in
nah,
unison. We're not
we're not
telling you.
going to tell you. That's right.
All right.
That's right.
That brings us to the end of yet another
Okay.
podcast episode of TV. It's all we've got. And you can catch it on Spotify, on Apple, on SoundCloud, and 1,000 other things. What's it?
Buzzsprout is what we hosted on.
Buzzsprout.
Mm.
Yeah.
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 Well, we sprout it everywhere.
We do. Yeah.
Okay. Well, until
Wherever
next
we can
week,
get it.
have a fabulous time improvising.
Thank you.
And
Just
and I've
improvise
got
my way through each day.
and wish me luck. I've got to go and sweat over Bridgerton.
Well, good luck.
And what am
I
I
hope you
doing
like
again?
it.
And what am I watching?
Lucy and Desi. It's on Amazon Prime.
Lucy and Desi.
Not the Nicole Kidman one.
Gotcha.
Not the Nicole Kidman one.
All right. Until next week.
All righty.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.
Bye.